Hey, what's up? Yeah, it's time to roll on to episode number 595 of Three Guys Before the Game. Thanks so much for being with us. This is our UCF game recap, and all three of us are in attendance.
Well, that's been a norm lately.
It has kind of happened a little. That's right.
What?
He starts to come when the leaves fall off the trees. But when them leaves are on the trees, he's hit or miss.
What? That's not. There's
Ever noticed that?
There's no correlation
Senator?
or causation to any of that. None. There's nothing to do with leaves.
So all you do is leave. Three Guys Before the Game brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card and go to gomart.com to get that rewards card. Go to gomart.com for all of the details. And right now, you're going to get triple points on Tuesdays if you have a rewards card, and that's a lot. Three Guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. They got it all. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. By Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's biscuit. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. They provide us with spreads on stats. And we will jump into the details of yesterday's victory by the world champion Mountaineers over the Knights of UCF. And so the Mountaineers have their sixth win. They're bowl eligible with one game to play. Saturday at Texas, noon kick.
11 o'clock, whatever
Eastern.
time it is out there.
11 o'clock Eastern, noon kick, which is the best that you can do.
No, 11 o'clock, not 11 o'clock Eastern.
11 is Central out there.
Yeah.
Whatever they are, they're Central.
Yeah, whatever.
You know, you'd think they'd be Senator. You think they would be farther away than Central, wouldn't you?
You think?
Well, they border Arizona.
No, but nobody knows what time it is in Arizona.
That's right.
We went to Arizona. It was 3 hours back. Now you're kind of like semi-close to Arizona. It's only one.
Well,
See if we can get that fixed this week. All right. Final home game of the season. West Virginia bounces back after the performance against Baylor, and they knock off the Knights of UCF. Pretty interesting game for a couple of different reasons, right? UCF came in as the number 2 rushing team in the nation, second only to Army, and that's what Army does. And you didn't know exactly what you were going to get. Quite honestly, I wasn't exactly sure.
no one was.
But when I talked to the head coach Friday, he was extremely comfortable and confident with their preparation. Guys were out there having fun all week in practice. They were involved. They were into it. They worked hard. And then when that snow came on Thursday, they're out there just running around having a big time. And he said, we're good mentally now. Can you go out and can you do it on the field and can you execute? And we learned right from the beginning that they were ready to do it because for the first time in 18 games,
Correct.
West Virginia gets the up. They go on defense to start the game, and which gives you the ball to start the second half.
That worked.
We'll get into middle 8.
We'll get into middle 8.
That's where it was won right there.
Yeah, 14-zip, middle 8. And so you get the ball, you drive, and you go, I like this. That's pretty good.
Well, you got to stop
You
first.
stopped them in a minute.
Yeah,
less than a minute gone by.
That couldn't have
3 and
started
out.
any
Yeah.
better. I don't know if that's a Gus Malzahn like overthinking it, like West Virginia wants the ball, so we're going to try and switch it up, which I understand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I understand the thought process. That part didn't work because you let a defense that you weren't sure what you were going to get. I'm not sure the defense knew what it was going to do. It gets a stop. It's bouncing, has confidence, and you still got the ball the first time if you're West Virginia and marched it right down the field for a score. Great start.
Yeah. So we'll break it down. We'll look into the numbers and what's it all mean now that West Virginia, has a chance. And then, big picture. Are you serious? The league yesterday?
League's topsy-turvy.
Oh, everyone's got at least 2 losses, and you have these just big chunks at the top, and then after that, and West Virginia's in that second chunk. of teams that are just like all knotted up here.
The preseason media poll couldn't have been further off for who was going to be good and who wasn't. Total miss, which is to be expected when you have a league that you thought you looked top to bottom and said, how do you decide who's going to be who in this league? That's the one prediction I think in college football that's turned out to be right, is that the Big 12 would be balanced and competitive, right? So how many games are 3-point spreads either way? And you've seen that that's playing out with Arizona with another good win. They continue on, even though there was some weird chaos at the end. Arizona State, excuse me. And then Iowa State last night, another game for Iowa State. They were a whisker from having a yak bad loss at Utah, who showed up and played. They had to pull it out there late with Rocco with some more heroics.
Yeah. So it makes for an interesting week coming up here in the league for West Virginia. Okay, you're not going to Dallas, but you could win 6 games in the conference. You could go 6-3 in the league, and West Virginia's never won 6 and 6 together back-to-back years in the conference. So that would be quite significant. And it's going to be tough. What do you think the line's going to be for Texas Tech?
So that's what we were talking about last night. Power ranking wise, it should be in that 3 range. Again, Texas Tech favored by 3 or so. Maybe they get an extra point or so just to see where you get some plays. But if you look just straight at power ratings, it should be Texas Tech by 3 or a little bit less.
All right. Let's look straight ahead into our Periscope. We look forward and we look into Hoppy's obvious observations. HOO.
Who?
By the way, we got a song coming up.
I'm sorry, real quick, before he does that, DraftKings is out early with their line. Texas Tech 3.5.
Every game's 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
All right.
Just wanted to confirm.
Anything obvious from the game, Hoppy?
Yeah, a lot of obvious.
What was it?
First of all, let me start with the crowd. The knee-jerk is crowd was terrible. No, the crowd was great. The folks that turned out for a team that had struggled at home in lousy weather against a non-name opponent, a non-ranked opponent, that crowd they came, they were into it, they suffered through bad conditions, and they helped, number one. Second thing is, great start. We already talked about that. And you get a 3 and out, then you score. It was a great start. That helped the crowd as well. Middle 8, Brad, I'll let you talk about that. But the middle 8 was where, as you said, where Neil Brown said the game was won. You possessed the ball in the second half, 20-10. That was big. You got some of those drives that you needed to run clock. So that was important. And 2 big 4th down conversions. West Virginia was 4 of 4 on 4th down. Big pass completions to Huddy and to Robinson. And that completion to Robinson, very same play from the week before that he dropped, went back to it. It was a great play. This time he caught the ball, got a big first down.
Huge.
On that 4th down play. Guys made plays. Does it make a difference when guys make plays?
Yes.
Helps.
Like Huddy making a play. Like Gallagher. That was a great catch by Gallagher. A great catch. He had to twist his body, turned around, catch it with one hand. That was big. C.J. Donaldson had one of his best games.
Ran hard.
Lowered the pads.
Low pad level, Brad.
96 yards,
Football
2 touchdowns.
Ran behind his pads.
Special teams, once again, special teams effective.
Pac-Man Fox.
More than effective. Darn near the difference in the game.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Straw averaged 50 yards a punt. Got a rare personal foul.
Punched a guy right in the head.
Is that what he did?
Is that what it was?
No, I never saw it. But
I never saw it.
Yeah.
Never seen that.
Well, we'll get into the whole Oliver Straw thing.
We will.
We'll explain the reasons why he may have been a little bit amplified.
We will, though, but add that to the T.J. Simmons blocking out a bounds flag on things I don't think I've ever seen that only get called at Mountaineer Field.
Yeah.
Personal foul on the punter.
Yeah, weird.
After what was an unbelievable punt.
But it was a great punt, and he had a great game. Hayes quietly was extremely effective. The season's not over, but I think 11 of 12. Is that what he is, Tony? I think 11 of 12.
Yeah, correct. I believe
so just solid as a rock. R.J. Harvey did get his 130, okay, but he didn't get more. He hurt.
He didn't get 230.
He didn't get he didn't get 180 or 170, and that was really their offense. They kept Risk uncomfortable. He had a couple big plays. He had the big touchdown pass, but they kept him uncomfortable. They got a little bit of pressure on him. Not so much sacks, but they got pressure on him. So, in summary,
this is the close of Hoppy's obvious observations.
Go ahead. I'll say when he's
clean, 2 penalties, no turnovers, clean. So, at this point in the year where there is legitimate question and evaluation as to whether Neil Brown and his staff, whether they keep their jobs. You put together complementary football on a funky day. Good offense, good defense, good special teams. It was evident that Neil Brown has not lost the team. They still played hard. They played one of their better games. They won the game. They're bowl eligible. They have a chance to win 6 in the league. A solid performance by this Mountaineer team. Well coached, well played.
Happy for him. What?
Well, I'm laughing because he started with obvious observations and he finished. In between, he used every bullet point for the entire show. You threw out. You didn't have to give every single one of your thing. You gave a lot there.
He's getting a little bit. He's getting a little bit full of himself on these obvious observations now.
You threw stats in there. You went down through every individual.
Like when you started,
went through every player on the roster and their individual performance. You did all 3 levels. That was beyond.
No, listen. Here's what happened.
Okay.
Here's what's happened. You've made this too complicated. When you first started obvious observations, you would go like, "All right, obvious observations. West Virginia played UCF. Mountaineers wore blue uniforms. WVU was at home.
That's disrespectful.
And the Mountaineers won. Okay, those are my obvious observations. Brad, take it away. Now, you're starting to do a dissertation.
No. Because, Brad, my obvious observations are just that. They're obvious. And the stats are obvious. And Brad always goes to the next level.
I don't know why you got to attack Brad saying the stuff that he does is simple. You're basically saying what he does is obvious, is what you just said.
No. All right. I'm sorry. Mountaineers wore blue uniforms.
They looked good. And I'm not a uniform guy. I like that look.
The all blue is always a good look. I like that too.
All right, I'll tone it down for the next game.
The way things are going, you might be doing the next one by yourself. Got some travel situations.
Should we just get into spreads? He took all the observations there for the high point of the game.
Do you want me to hit the spreads already?
No, not yet. That was, you're right, Hop. That was a good game from all 3 levels, all 3 sides of the ball, as some say, and did what you had to do.
Yes.
Right. This is going to be one of those when we get into the numbers don't wow you. In fact, you got beat in some statistical categories there, but that's one of those where you did exactly what you had to do to win and get that done. The defense stepped back and gave a performance against what's a difficult team to play against on the ground. We thought going in, strength on strength, UCF running it against what's been a good run defense for West Virginia. That played itself out. I'll get into some of those numbers coming up. And then offensively, especially those 4th downs. You mentioned 4 for 4 on 4th. We'll get into that a little more specifically. But that was some big boy plays there on 4th down.
That wasn't 4th down in a yard.
No.
There was a 4th and 8 and a 4th and 11, right?
Yeah, those were impressive. Garrett with some good throws. You mentioned Robinson. I was glad to see him pop back on that similar play that we'd seen last week, makes the catch.
Let me ask you
Huddy
this.
was really good.
Let me ask you this. On the Hudson Clement catch late, did you think it was picked?
No, but it was close.
Well, but at first, did you look at it and go did the guy get it?
Because not in real time I didn't, but when they showed the replay from up top, it was a lot, I was close.
I thought
he zipped that thing in there. And
I didn't say it, but I'm looking at it and I see the dude go whizzing by, and then I see his teammate kind of turn, he might have caught it and they're turning to go back on a return.
Oh, you mean after the play you thought it was picked?
I thought because it happened so fast, and I'll see Hudson running out of bounds. I went, all right, there it was, ball game.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah, ball game.
That was big.
So basically what West Virginia did yesterday was, in nautical terms, they just dropped their anchor. And they said, we're not moving. We're going to win our final home game. And when it comes to dropping anchors, you have to visit Lou Wendell Marine Sales, located in St. Albans. They just happen to be the premier pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. Sure, you can get anchors of any size there as well. But when it comes to pontoon boats, they sell the Avalon pontoon boat, which is manufactured 100% here in the United States, located up in Michigan. And those G3, those John boats, those are, in just one word, terrific.
You seem particularly interested in those.
I wouldn't mind taking a ride. Maybe, if we could go down to Lou Wendell one of these days, and maybe they'll put one in the water there. We can go up and down there. It says G3 right on there, and so they're wonderful for fishing and a whole lot more. So when it comes to boats of all types, visit Lou Wendell Marine Sales. 50-plus years they're in this business, and so you don't last that long without doing it really well and treating your customers great. LouWendellMarineSales.com. All right, you ready for your deal? You ready for your deal?
He'll have much more than I had, so.
Well, I understand. I get it. But I just thought you were getting a little bit
frisky.
Frisky is a good word. Frisky.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Spreads on Stats is a comprehensive analytical review.
A deeper dive than others might do.
Is a non-obvious breakdown of the contest between the Mountaineers and the Knights, brought to us by Conley CPA Group. They do provide value beyond numbers, complete service, public accounting, and consultation with clients throughout West Virginia and surrounding states. Basically, they are your guide that walks along with you in the business world, and they can tell you exactly what's the best way to do certain things when it comes to your taxes and a whole lot more within your business. They can also outsource your accounting. Yeah, they can provide your accounting services for you without having people in your building or wherever. You can do a little, they can do a lot, whatever way you want to do it. Plus, they can outsource CFO services. Visit Conley CPA Group. Canute Curtis, all-time sack leader for the Mountaineers at the game yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't get a chance to run into him, but I think he said first game back. I
was going to say he hadn't been back a lot, has he?
In years and years and years. Yeah.
Awesome. So good to have him back.
Yeah, so he came back.
He's a pretty good player.
He could play.
Yeah, he come upfield a little bit.
Yeah.
Come upfield a little bit. What do the numbers say?
All right, let's dive in. Let's start with how we normally start. Let's take a look back at what we said Thursday were some keys and how did those play out. First and foremost, we led with what, guys?
Turnovers?
Noel. Yeah, you always lead with turnovers. We'll come back to that. No, we led with, can you slow down UCF's running game?
Yeah.
Right, that was number one. And you really did, for the most part. You mentioned it, Hop, that Harvey got $130, technically below his average, averaging 133, so you held him in check. That's the nation's number 2 running team, Tony. You pointed that out. You held them to nearly 100 yards less than what they'd been averaging per game on the ground. Very good. How about this number? Only 27% of UCF's plays were run in West Virginia territory.
Yeah, that's big.
Very good.
Big.
That's very good. Held UCF scoring-wise 2 touchdowns below their season average. Held them to points on just 3 of 10 drives. So overall, I thought defensively that they should get a lot of credit for that, guys. They played a really good game, enough to get you the win. Didn't give up the huge explosive plays. There was one big pass play. Other than that, they were in position, right? They played a very solid game, and that was what they needed in a bounce back situation. One of the areas that they were so good at defensively, and it was a question we asked on Thursday, could you get some pressure on a young, inexperienced quarterback that, if you could, was likely to struggle, was our hypothesis on Thursday. Guess what happened, Hop?
Yeah, I think they got some pressure on him. Didn't get any sacks, really, but got pressure on him, and he did not have a great day.
No question. Highest graded defender, and we'll get into grades coming up, but Tyron Bradley was your highest graded defender. I felt like we said his name 100 times in the first half.
Yeah.
In particular. He was noticeable and was all over the field. One of the biggest plays of the game, of course, was the turnover, right? And Bradley was the cause of that. He was shot out of a cannon off that left side, right side of the defense, coming on the left side of the UCF line, blew that mesh point up between the quarterback and running back, caused the fumble. If you go back to the play immediately before that, he was on the opposite side and ran all the way across the field and tracked the ball carrier down. So he was really active and was in the backfield a lot. You got enough pressure on Risk early that it was clear he wasn't going to be capable of beating you there if they had to throw the ball. And I thought you saw that even in the second half when, if you look at his numbers, not terrible. Yards per attempt were pretty good. They threw it down the field a little bit. But you could see they weren't comfortable with him throwing it. They did a lot of stuff laterally there and weren't willing to throw it down the field. He ended up 1 for 6 for 14 yards when he was under pressure. Passes that weren't screens, 8 of 18. So I thought West Virginia did what it had to do. When they had to throw the ball, you did enough on the run to slow them down and force them into some passing situations. When they had to throw, it was clear West Virginia had the advantage in that situation.
Yeah, even on their first drive, right? He threw it, if I'm not mistaken, he threw it twice, and they were both not good balls, and you kind of went oh, okay. You know, sometimes a quarterback zips his first 2 in there, he gets a little bounce. I thought, right from the beginning.
That was almost too clever by half, too. You come out throwing the ball. I would have given it to Harvey 3 times.
Probably wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Let's jump around on some other things here. You know, end of possession downs are really good. 8 of 11 in the first half when you took control of that game. I'll say that again. 8 of 11 on end of possession downs. That's really good. We already talked about the 4 for 4 on fourth downs throughout the game. There were some obvious big ones late to seal it. Let's talk middle 8 for a second. That's the final 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second. Coaches talk about that a lot. If you can win the middle 8, you generally end up with a win. West Virginia, Tony, you mentioned it early, 14-0 in that area. Got a score late in the first half and then started the second half. That really was the game right there. That sealed it for you. And I know it got a little bit hairy later. You started to get a little bit nervous, but really that was the moment when you had it. Your EPA, expected points added during that time, total EPA in the middle 8 was nearly 6 times what UCF's EPA was, which backs up that 14-0.
And Brad, they got a big fourth down on that touchdown late in the first half. Remember, it was a question: should they go for a field goal? No, they went, which still would have put them up 2 scores, but went for it on fourth down, got it, and got a touchdown.
Yeah.
Out of it.
Special teams I mentioned were outstanding. How about this for a number? Go back to expected EPA for a second. You had better EPA on special teams than you did for your offensive EPA for the game. That's how much that game hinged on, and some of that comes from Ollie Straw's punting, and you get expected points added because of the position he put the defense in, which changes field position, Hoppy, which is going to give you some expected points added to your score, right? Because you think you're going to get the ball back and be able to score easier. And then Pac-Man Fox was tremendous on a couple of different kick returns. So that's one of those hidden yardage phases where if you end up with a better EPA on special teams than you did on your offense, that's absolutely tremendous. That led... Let me confirm this. I put it in last night. That led to, guys, I like to go to this number a lot, a plus 11 yard field position advantage. What do I always say? If you're over 10, 90-some% plus win probability. So
saw that against Cincinnati,
yep,
right?
You did. So defense and special teams, I thought were really, really good. All right, let's do some individual performances here. Ollie Straw's one. I think you got to, if we just said special teams EPA was really good, you got to start with Straw. 54-yard punt, he banged that, right? Flipped the field.
With his feet back on the back of the goal line.
Popped it.
Back of the end zone.
Put them back in their territory. Had that one where they had to take a fair catch on the 6. That was another good punt. And then the one we talked about, just an unbelievable kick that he drops and just kills it. That backspin on those punts, and it just died inside the 5. And then again, the bizarre personal foul call on a punter, which I really don't know that I've ever seen that. But Ollie was outstanding. Pac-Man Fox with the 2 big kick returns. The second one set up the touchdown in the second half. He was tremendous. Hudson Clement, right? We kept saying, who's going to step up and make a play? Hudson did. 68% of your passing yards went to Hudson Clement. Wow. 68%, guys. Talk about a guy that needed to play, and the passing game was good and really effective. He made some big-time plays.
Yeah, question was, right, with Traylon Ray's injury, who was going to step up? Well, Hudson went like, I got it.
Yeah,
throw it to me. I'll take care of it.
You mentioned CJ having a really good game. He was good early, right? Got the start and was running hard right from the beginning. Credit the offensive line, especially early. They opened up some lanes. That got a little hairy late because that defensive front for UCF caused some problems there. When you could start to go into the run stuffs for the different teams, UCF had an advantage there. They got after it up front. They had some big dudes up there. But early, that running game was clicking. CJ was important to that. West Virginia had 15 rushing first downs. CJ had 9 of those. Shows you what kind of game he had, and he mattered in those situations.
His most yardage this season against a Power 4 opponent.
PFF grades. Let's look into this a little bit.
You're talking about individual grades for players here?
I'm going to do some team grades first, then we'll get into some individuals. Team-wise, how about this, Hoppy? Third best defensive grade of the season came yesterday, which is very good. But here's the important part here. 2 of your 3 best defensive grades have happened in the last 3 weeks.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
2 of your best 3.
Yeah,
right?
well, I can believe that.
Yeah, Cincinnati and this one playing better.
Can we make that 3 out of 4 next week at Tech?
You're going to be tested next week.
Tested, but yeah, you'd like to. Your coverage grade in particular averaged a 50.8 through the first 7 games. And for most of those 7 games, it was the worst coverage grade in the country, the single worst. So a 50.8 grade. And think of that on a school grading scale, 0 to 100. 50 is not good, Hop. You don't want to get a 50. But in the last 4 games, that has jumped to a 66.4.
Can you give me that again?
Sure. 50.8 coverage grade through the first 7 games. Jumped to 66.4 over the last 4 games.
Okay.
So coverage has improved, leading to 2 of your 3 best defensive scores.
That's a substantial improvement.
It's a huge jump late in a season when generally, as we've talked about, you kind of are what you are. Now, there's been some obvious changes that have helped, but that's generally, that's a heck of an improvement from a unit that was as bad as you could get that has made itself much more playable now than what it was. Okay, what do you want to do first? Offense?
Sure.
You could probably guess the top 3 without much trouble.
CJ, Garrett, and Huddy?
Correct, in different order. Huddy 1, CJ 2, Garrett 3.
Just for the record, those were obvious.
They were. That was my specialty.
You mentioned Rodney Gallagher.
Yeah.
He comes in at number 4. That was a really nice play. A couple things on that touchdown to the corner. So great protection right there. Garrett had time. Really good throw. Because he led him to the back corner, right, where there was either going to be a catch or an incompletion. But that route by Gallagher was really good. He came out and took the hard jab inside, and that defensive back hopped. And as Steve Dunlap pointed out to us, he has to hop, right, because you can't give up inside when you're that defensive back, right? You want to make them throw it to the back corner if they have to. So the corner did what he was supposed to, but hopped. Gallagher turned and went back, and then the pass was exactly where it needed to be. Now, Gallagher did have to spin to catch it, but that was a really well-executed play.
You think he needs new shoes?
Who?
Rodney.
Why? He slipped?
Twice. I mean, twice. He was mad the second time because they set that little screen up to the visitor's sideline, and he was ready to rip that thing up. It might have been a jet sweep. I don't know. But anyway, he was turning up, and he slipped. So they want to get, what do they call those shark cleats? Is that what we need to get, Brad? Remember that? Put the Mako shark cleats in there. Maybe get some of those.
Maybe. Didn't need it on that play.
No.
Nice play. Defensive grades. You can probably guess who number 1 was.
Wilson?
No. Who did we just talk about? Tyron Bradley.
Oh.
Really good. 85 grade for Tyron. He got after it. Number 2, this was good to see him elevate up here. Trey Lathan. Right?
Yeah, he was around.
Friend of the show. He was really good. And then number 3 just continues. Hop, I talked about him in pregame. He was my pick for defensive player of the game, like who had to make some plays. Fatorma Molba was graded well again. He is really playing well.
Yeah. Happy.
And then 2 others that I think are worth noting. One, on senior day, West Virginian Sean Martin had a nice game. Led the team with 4 total pressures on the day, so good for Sean. Had that nice run stop as well.
How about he only had 1 tackle officially, but it was at the end of the half where he took that running back and basically WWE move.
Yes.
Just kind of like picked him up and just threw him down on the ground.
Yeah. He was credited with those 4 pressures.
He was all over the place.
So
yes.
that was really well done. Dantes Fagan at number 5, who I said yesterday during our show, has quietly come on and had pretty good numbers on here and has shown you a few things, but he ends up as your 5th highest graded defender.
Yeah, that's good. Happy for Garrett to go out with a W at home. He had approximately about 30 people there.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Family come in. So that's a big deal.
Speaking of Garrett, I thought one of the other more important, I'm going to give you a couple other numbers here in just a sec, but one of the other important moments, and it only ended in a field goal, so he only got 3 points out of it, and Garrett was big. He had a massive scramble on 4th down from West Virginia's from the 35-yard line when he took off, and he didn't think he was going to be able to get there. He gets it. 8 minutes and 36 seconds off the clock. Killed the third quarter and then chewed some fourth quarter clock. I thought that was massive. Now, win percentage-wise, it only added 1.8 percentage to your win percentage total because you already had pretty much command of that. But I thought that was huge. To chew up, that's an Army-like 8-minute drive to chew up clock when you did not need to give the ball back to them and let them get going. I thought that was huge, and his scramble on 4th was big.
Yeah. I mean, they a 15-minute advantage in time of possession. So, in essence, they had the ball for 1 quarter more. So, UCF only had it for 3, right? Could only have it for 3 quarters.
And you can't do that unless you make plays. 4 for 4 on 4th down. We talked about that. I forget what 3rd down was, but good percentage on 3rd down. But just, making plays.
Yeah, 3rd down ended up, you were 8 of 18 on 3rd, 4 of 4 on 4th. So, your possession downs, you're 12 of 22. You're over 50%.
Yeah.
Let's look at, I like to do this here lately. I think these are interesting to see, these win percentage added plays, like what plays were the biggest of the game, courtesy of GameOnPaper.com. Biggest ad of the game was the defensive play on the fumble. That cost UCF a 10.4% win percentage advantage there. They were
They were
negative
in-
10%.
They were inside the 30 at that point.
Yeah.
That was a swing because West Virginia drove down and scored on that.
Huge swing. So that was the biggest one of the game in terms of just straight single plays that changed it. West Virginia's other biggest play was CJ's touchdown run in the first quarter, added 6%. You got another one, Jaheim White's touchdown, added 6%, 6.4 and 6.1. CJ's second touchdown run was added another 6%. So you didn't have any of those massive swings except the turnover, but you just kept adding and just kept coming at them.
You know, CJ Donaldson scored 2 more rushing touchdowns. He's now 7th all-time in career rushing touchdowns. He's got 27. He can get in there. And Jaheim, who did not start, I thought he ran well, 54 yards on 12 carries with a touchdown, had a long at 35. So those two guys combined for a $139. Is that right?
No,
I'm doing
more
public
than that.
math. 154, 149. The two of them combined for 149 yards. Yeah, on 31 carries. So pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And
So good
Garrett, by the time you take away sack yards and all that kind of thing, 49 yards on 18 carries with a long run of 15.
Yeah, but forget the sack yards on that because that's. I looked at that stat, Tony, and I thought, no, I wasn't going to count that because that's not him running. I mean,
This to me, guys, after seeing Garrett have to be so one-man showish against Baylor, I thought this was a more complete effort with your guys. And I thought it was one of those two. If you want to go back, this may be more of a Hoppy's obvious observations. It wasn't a great statistical game. You won't look at this and be blown away by those numbers. But what it was, there were guys making big plays in big moments more than it was just a massive statistical game, right?
Yeah, right.
The Garrett scramble, the Hudson catch, the couple of CJ runs, the Tyron Bradley forced fumble. So I think we can name 7 or 8 individual really important, impactful plays without just having massively big stats where you went, wow, how about this number?
Well,
Because the numbers just didn't wow you, but the game performance I thought was extremely good.
well, Garrett's numbers only 13 of 21 for 118, but what are we talking about? We're talking about those completions that were made at key times.
He completed over 60% of his passes. But I think going back to your point, Brad, so it's kind of cliche. You got to make plays. You got to make plays. Well, who makes plays? Playmakers. And they change the complete complexion of a game. When you've got a guy that will make a big-time significant play, that's what determines these games. Like he said, so Bradley causes the disruption, which leads to a fumble, and it improves West Virginia's chance of winning the game by almost 11%, right? So what happened there? Well, a guy made a play, and then Fagan, he was thinking about scooping that baby up. Fortunately, he fell
close
on that thing.
Yeah.
It was a little bit tight.
But
But
again,
anyway,
that was the biggest single big swing.
Right.
But also to the point. So you look at raw numbers here, and West Virginia ran for what'd they finish? Over 200 yards or more than 200 yards, but what'd they finish with?
200.
Right.
They
200 exactly.
Netted 200.
Now, they had 120 of those in the first half, so they were off to a great start. So you look at that versus the passing, and you went, okay, West Virginia was really good and dominant on the ground. But you dive into that second layer of numbers with expected points added, you were actually more efficient and effective in that category passing than you were rushing, right? So that was back those situational big-time plays when you converted on some of those late downs. That's what flips that number. So I thought overall just really good. Did exactly what you had to do, and in a bounce-back spot with a lot of noise, again, circulating around this program, which could have been a difficult situation, you stepped up and got a badly needed win all the way around.
And another pat on the back for obviously this much maligned defense. And the fact that UCF was just 4 of 11 on 3rd and 4th down combined, 4 out of 11. That is very, very significant. And also this we don't spend much time on this, but West Virginia is among the nation's best. They're top 10 in the country. And I think there might have been even 5-ish in fewest penalties. And yesterday, 2 for 30 total. And the one was one that you've never seen before, a punter getting called for unsportsmanlike conduct. So it took a wild one there, but those dudes had 8 for 58, including some key offsides penalties. And by the way, nice piece of officiating on the pass interference that Justin Robinson drew in the first half on the UCF sideline where the two officials that were in front of the play didn't pull the pocket hanky, but instead it was the official who was trailing. And when they went and showed the replay, they showed the corner had taken and gotten a hold of the back of his jersey. And those are those huge plays, man. Like if they eat that, drive's done. Here comes Oliver Straw. Time to punt it.
Okay, to your point, you want a number to back up what you just theorized right there?
Well, sure.
Because you're right. Your expected EPA off penalty plays was much greater than your offensive EPA and only slightly below your special teams EPA.
Okay, explain that in English.
Expected points added. So
Well, no, I know that. So how do penalties factor in?
because of those. Like, so instead of being a punting situation, it kept the drive alive for you. You picked up yards, so therefore your expected points on that drive increased because the drive stayed alive versus having to give the ball back, where it would have gotten 0. So the plays in which penalties were called made it more likely that you were going to score points. So it was really valuable. And it was 5 times greater than UCF's penalty EPA because you didn't have very many. So they didn't get any benefit off your mistakes penalty-wise.
And did you go? I think the 2 penalties were the weird personal foul and a pass interference, right? Were those the
Yes.
2?
Correct. Holland
So-
got called for one.
So you
yeah.
go a whole game and don't get a hold call.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Or a procedure.
Yeah.
Or an offside.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty clean. That's very clean. Now there might have been a pass interference, another pass interference they didn't call. Man.
No, there wasn't. Very well officiated game. They did
Well,
exactly what
well
they needed
done
to do.
by Stephen Barron and his crew, fine Big 12 officials.
Did a great job, of course.
You know, in basketball, early on in a game, oftentimes a coach will try to make an early impression on an official so that he gets calls for the rest of the game. Let's go back. Early in the game, I don't even know exactly what number possession it was for UCF. They have a spot of the football.
Yes.
And Neal exploded
Yes.
onto the field.
Charge the official.
Well, that might be a bit strong. He attempted in a hurried manner to communicate with the official but the official didn't know he was coming from behind him. And he absolutely detonated on him.
Which I think he was right, by the way. But
Yeah.
Well, it was they moved the ball 3 yards. They moved the ball 3 yards for the first down. And so I said to myself at that point, that head linesman, he ain't going to make no more bad spot calls for the rest of the game. You got spots the rest of the game because that's not good on him. Like when they write that thing up in his review of his game, like, hey, my man, how did you say that thing went down 3 yards before it did?
of course, the spots should never get screwed up. The chip and the ball and the electronic way that they do that, it's always perfect.
Brad, they don't do that.
There's no guessing.
No,
they never guess. They know exactly where it's spotted.
Official runs in, puts the ball, and Coach Brown got a sideline warning based on that.
Yeah, he did get one. I thought when the flag
Thought
came
they were
up,
flagging him?
Absolutely. Yeah. I said he just got himself 15.
But remember, it's the same rule as in basketball. When you've yacked it as an official, you give a lot of rope before you tee somebody up. Right? And they know when they've screwed it up. So then you can get away with a lot of yelling there if they've screwed it up.
Yeah, he won that one. There was no question about it. You know what else there's no question about, Hop?
What, Tony?
When it comes to business phone systems, if you're in the market, Comax Business Systems is the place you at least have to contact and say, hey, what do you got for me? How about a little something for the effort? If you're looking for a business phone system, have Comax come in that will give you a complete evaluation of what they think that is best for your business's need and then a free price estimate. And they have every single possible combination of phone systems from 1 to 1,000 digital lines. They can take care of all of that and more. So if your business is in the need of a new phone system, hey, why don't you get it for your business for Christmas? Give your business a Christmas present. Give the folks at Comax Business Systems a call. Visit comaxwv.com for a free price quote.
Tony, we mentioned him and holding him to his average, Harvey, but I think everybody was wowed by him. He's really good. I mean, really good. The way
I'd be real surprised if he's not, right, an NFL
The way
guy.
he would bounce out.
Yep.
Great acceleration.
Yep.
You see games and you see running backs. You go, okay. And you see a guy like that and you go, oh, okay, he's different.
Yes, and that's why, and you guys have already given some love to kickoff man Michael Hayes. He did a really good job. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but he was like surgically placing that ball on the O of Mountaineers. He dropped 3 of them on the O. And Harvey, for the most part, was neutralized.
Yeah.
That's an area that when we do the season recap, you'll look at. That's a massive improvement year over year in kickoff coverage.
Yeah, you're among the best in the country.
You're among the best in the country from a unit that really got torched last year multiple times and cost you one game, almost cost you a second game.
And
Absolutely.
Harvey only had 17 yards.
Right.
One return, 17. No. Is that right?
Yeah, he took it out to the 19-yard line. Might have
yeah.
started at the 2 and I think got out to the 19-yard line.
Good win in a badly needed win situation. West Virginia stepped up and got one.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, I'm done.
It's really good.
Yeah,
Basketball team play coming up here.
Got a couple games coming up.
How many they have coming up?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday games in Atlantis against a loaded field. It's like a mini NCAA tournament field.
You guys will be there.
Yeah, I was looking at Gonzaga this morning.
Yeah, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
In an era where rosters just rotate constantly, they return 10 of their 12 players.
Really?
81% of their offense on a team that won 24 games last year, and 71% of their rebounds.
Now, you have to go play them.
What's crazy is how many frickin' times have we played Gonzaga? We've played Gonzaga more than we've played Pitt.
They're a shadow conference member.
Yeah.
I mean, we just keep running into these dudes.
Number 1 offensive efficiency team in the country. Number 2 in their own turnover. So they don't turn it over a lot. They're number 1 offensively. They're 5th defensively in 3-point percentage, opponent 3-point percentage. This is a good team that runs and pushes, and you're right. Not only do they return a lot of guys, all those guys they return are outstanding. I mean, they'll bring in their third guy off the bench and on Wednesday, and you'll go, this guy.
So
He's
the standard in the business, if you're a point guard, if you have 2 assists for every 1 turnover, it's pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3 to 1, really good. 4 to 1's oh my gosh, this guy's got 4 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. If you're 5, you don't even see it. 6, well, it'd be 7. Wait. RJ Nimhard, their point guard, right now is running 8 to 1. And last year he was 4.4 to 1. So they got a 5-star 2 guard. They got dudes, man.
And you got to play them Wednesday afternoon.
Here's 5 guys in double figures. They have big, they have guard, they have everything. They're loaded.
Think about this. Mark Few, right? He's up there in Spokane, and people know. I mean, I don't think you've kind of realized. Do you know what he's done?
I'm sure the numbers are incredible.
25 seasons there, right? He was 10 as an assistant at Gonzaga. Gonzaga, actually. You're supposed to say Zag, like bag, Gonzaga. 25 seasons as the head coach. They've won 20 or more games all 25 years. And I know you're screaming, it's because they play in a West Coast conference. I don't care. They've won 20 or more games. Everyone has a dip. And if you look at their schedule, they'll play anywhere. They got games coming. They go to the Garden and play Connecticut middle of next month. They have.
Well, hold on. Before that, they play Kentucky.
They play Kentucky coming up after they leave Atlantis the week after that. And they've already played Baylor and beat them 40+. So bring it on. The line on our game will be, I say, between 15 and 16, don't you?
It will be
14, 15, 16?
Yep, right in that range.
Yeah.
Right in that range.
They might have to move that up.
They're good. One quick note here: we won't do a full preview, but watch them. They're great shooters, but they're left-handed, especially where they shoot from. You look at their chart, red versus blue, on where they're really good. Lane and rim, outstanding, and then the left side, 47% from left corner threes, 41% left wing threes. Left short baseline, 50% from the line.
Left.
So they love the left side. So can we cut the left side of the court off there?
I snickered when Hoppy said they need to lift the lineup a little bit. I don't know, Hop, because we're playing in a ballroom.
Right.
And they serve brunch in there an hour or 2 before the games are played. If you get some good bacon grease, I would go in heavy with the bacon grease on the left side of the floor, right? Maybe some syrup, stick some things up on certain areas,
Well,
slip some things on some other areas.
You just hope, there's a lot of kids that go to this, so you hope that when they're carrying their plate back across mid-court to get to their table that's over there for the buffet, there's some of that syrup dripping off. There's just a little drop of eggs that they don't want their parents to see, so they kind of kick the eggs off, but nobody cleans it.
Are you saying
I don't want anybody
that,
to get hurt. I just want that to affect the shot for Gonzaga.
Are you saying that as the teams come out to warm up, they'll have to dribble around
People,
the breakdown of the buffet line?
People might not be done yet. There's always that one guy that got up late and his hair is all messed up, and you could see he's run on. He's got his shorts, and he's just like, I'm just trying to get something before it closes. He's got eggs coming off of his plate, things that he really wouldn't normally eat, like a lot of oatmeal.
And he had to self-toast his own bagel, and it burnt, so he had to do it again, so it's put him behind. So he'll be over in the corner as Nemhard's trying to get some threes up.
Or you put the bagel in, and it didn't get toasted at all. Oh. Then you got to run it through again. By that time,
or you didn't put enough batter in that waffle machine that you can flip over.
Yeah. I see many problems.
So maybe that'll help West Virginia.
Hey, keep this in mind at our good friends Gomart this November and December, all the way to the end of December, triple holiday cheer. What's that mean, you say? Well, Gomart's got you covered. They will triple your rewards points on your Gomart card every Tuesday, November and December. If you're not a rewards member yet, what seems to be the problem? Why wouldn't you want to save on food and fuel? All you have to do is get the Gomart app or download the Gomart.com, go to the Gomart.com website to get it. Brad is a constant user of the app because he likes when he gets those notifiers that say, hey, bing, 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 we got a super special deal going on here. Get a Reese cup the size of a manhole cover now and a big bag of Funyuns plus a Slim Jim.
And he just walks into the Gomart and just starts yelling, commanding, like, "Where's the Santa's boot Reese's?"
Just went there yesterday with my card, got 3 cents off gas, 3 cents per gallon off gas.
Good.
Thank you.
Good deal.
So Triple Point Tuesdays at Gomart. It gets you jingling into savings. Please do. Check it out.
By the way, they are doing a buy two, get one free on the Reese's shapes.
Oh, okay.
Including the Santa boots?
I don't know if they have the Santa boots there, but other shapes. Santa boots are hard to find.
That Santa boot thing is never going to go away because I saw Charlie and Martha at the event on Friday.
They were on you about it.
And she says she still giggles over the fact that I said it was. You have that sometimes. Yeah, well. Sometimes you swing and miss.
Sometimes.
Time now for Textual Healing. It is brought to us by episode800.com. Episode and then 800.com. And right now, it is a holiday bonanza on the website. Our Mountaineer Munch popcorn is available, and that is the combination of peanut butter and chocolate together on this popcorn, which is just crazy cubed good. And then the Mountaineer Roasting Game Day Grind coffee. It's just terrific. Just terrific. And did you know that Mountaineer Popcorn, which makes that, they were in Shepherdstown. They're still in Shepherdstown. Now have new business location in Martinsburg.
Excuse me?
Moved into the big city.
Expanded.
Yeah.
Wow.
Into the big city there. I was talking to some folks there this weekend. They told us that they moved in there, so branching out. So, again, if you're looking for gift ideas for someone, whether they're a Three Guys listener or not, you put that coffee together, put that popcorn together, and it's a wow.
I think my brother-in-law might get that Brad's cap. Three Guys cap.
Well, it's
Well,
all
that'd be
our
nice.
hats, not just my.
That'd be nice.
I'm sorry?
It's not just my hat.
Well, it was your design, right?
Well, it's our Three Guys hat, you could say.
All right, I want to give you credit.
Thank you. But
Okay.
Team effort.
So this past weekend we had we didn't do the food court, but instead we did something we had never done before, and that was a speakeasy event here in Morgantown. And quite honestly, couldn't have gone any better.
That's
now, while
terrific.
we were doing the speakeasy, the women's basketball team was in action over at the Coliseum. And as you know, Three Guys, actually, Delightful Dave, has 2 season tickets that are on the floor. Mm-hmm. And we'll go on social media if you follow us. And Dave, when he doesn't use the tickets because he's flying all over the world all the time, will say, hey, if you want these tickets, they're yours. Well, this past Friday night, Matthew Childers and his daughter won the tickets, and there they are.
There they are.
They were on hand. That's pretty much right. They just basically stepped out of their seat right there. That's how close they are in all seriousness. And they were on hand to watch WVU women win 98-28.
Lined up.
Was the final score. A long night for Lafayette.
West Virginia forced more turnovers than points scored by Lafayette.
Correct.
30-28,
right?
Yeah. All right. So now let me tell you about the speakeasy.
It was terrific.
So in all disclosure, none of us knew exactly what it was going to be like. Dave took care of everything, and he just said,
As
okay.
usual.
Yeah. He goes, okay, just be there Friday. We're going to start it at 5. We're going to go till 9 o'clock, and we're going to raise money for an incredibly worthwhile cause. So it was awesome. Firstly, thanks everyone for doing the food court with us during the regular portion of the season. Parkersburg Brewing Company, the Wine Bar, the Brownie House, and Rev Kev's Barbecue made the food court. We only did it twice last year, and we did it how many times this year?
Four?
All but two.
All
Four
but
out of
two.
How many home games do we have?
five?
7? We did 5. We did 5.
Really? 5?
Yeah, we did
Okay.
5. Didn't do the last 2. Okay. So as far as the speakeasy goes, what we did, Hudson Clement, the Mountaineer football player, has a campaign to support the Lillard family and their daughter, Ava May, who is battling cancer. And he is donating dollars. So what we did is we said, okay, we're going to charge people $10 to get in, and there was 100 people that came, and then we're going to match the 1,000 that they bring in. We'll match another 1,000 on top of it, and then we had some incredibly generous donations. So on Friday night, we made over $5,000 for the folks there, the family. And now with what Hudson has done, it's over $10,000.
Great.
Awesome.
So that is special thanks. Now, where we held the event is just that way down near the river from where we're located, and it's the Brew Pub, and they've got this incredibly unique basement space underneath.
Didn't know it was there.
We didn't know it was there, and I mean, you talk about So that's just one of the looks. So we want to thank them. They were fantastic.
Absolutely.
Oliverio's provided the food. It was outstanding, just outstanding. And it
Look at
happens to be Ava May's favorite restaurant. So that's inside of it. And her parents, Sarah Beth and Mike, were there. You can still donate. So it was great. So one thing happened. There are a lot of things happened during the course of it. One thing that happened is, Hoppy, this was after you left. Brad and I got there. And I got called over, minding my own business, got called over to meet someone because I said, we gave a couple of words, and then we said, well, I'm sure if you guys are here, you listen to the show. So someone said, like, this lady has no idea what it is that you guys do. Like, no clue. So she said, would you talk to her? So I go like, hey, how you doing? And she said, she goes, what do you do? And I said, what do you mean, what do I do? She goes, podcast, what do you do? I said, well, it's a podcast. We talk about the Mountaineers and we review the games, we preview the games. She goes, I'm from Penn State. I went to school at Penn State. She got a little Penn State-y on me.
Oh.
A little bit.
Up in your grill?
A little bit of this, yeah. So I, hospitable to her. And then, I don't know what happened.
What? But what?
She launched into this thing how West Virginia kept Penn State out of the Big East.
Hey.
And then someone took a picture right when she was attacking me.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And then I got confused because afterwards, because it was a little dark in there, I thought it was Kim Mulkey. So, like, so it took me a little bit, but then I figured out and I got some information. So her name is Janelle, and she works here in town for Vandalia Health Systems. And she was great, but that was at the point where I may have said to her when she said West Virginia stopped Penn State from coming into the league, I said, well, you're full of crap. Just wanted to set the thing there.
Right,
so
right.
I was, you could see I was on the retreat. But eventually we settled, and she was wonderful.
Oh, good.
And I did explain to her that it was all Pitt that kept Penn State out of the.
She set the record straight.
Yeah, she was great. She's got 2 kids that go to school here. She lives here, and lawyer by trade. Lawyer by trade.
And so she ultimately had a good time at Speakeasy, even though she had no idea what the podcast was about.
But she said she was going to listen today because P1 Jennings was there, and he got her phone, and he said, this is how you listen. So she's listening today.
So Jennings just handled it and downloaded it, subscribed for her?
Well, I don't know if he subscribed, but he said, okay. And so I said, listen, we'll talk about you on Sunday's show. But it turned out to be very nice. But at first, I mean,
I was glad Janelle came then. Thank you, Janelle.
She was great.
Appreciate you coming.
It was fun.
Along with everybody. It was a fun night.
I thought it was tremendous.
Well, let's show some of these pictures.
Oh, okay.
Hoppy. Yeah, let's take a look. So some more of these photos here. Hoppy was as his normal social self. And as we said, Mike and Sarah Beth, the parents of Ava Mae, were there. And they were great. And you had a good conversation.
Them right there,
that's them right there.
I talked to him at 2 different times and sat there and visited with them. Wonderful people. They were very appreciative of the speakeasy. And Ava just had another surgery about a week or so ago. She's home, doing pretty well. Hang on a second. Go back. Doing pretty well, but it's tough. I mean, it's tough. It's a serious disease. It started a year ago, and she just had a pain in her side. And she's a dancer, and everybody thought, well, you just pulled a muscle or something. And it turned out to be cancer, and it's been a long, hard battle. And Mike and Sarah Beth run a small business, so it's not easy for them. Sure. And maybe one will come up, and then the other one will come up. So it's very, very hard. And that's what this money helps, is to help them with some of these ancillary brands, some of these ancillary expenses that they have. So just fantastic people, and they were very appreciative. And I think, again, it's just what, and thanks to Dave, delightful Dave, for pulling it together, of what people are willing to do for a good cause. It was really rewarding. Very nice.
Tony, you mentioned it, not only the cover charge, so to speak, that was a donation, but some of the people that attended that. Hold on there. Go back there for a second, Ethan. Some of the people that attended that did such a great job of stepping forward and giving more above and beyond that. That was really awesome of the listeners that were there. So thank you to all of them.
And the next picture was one of the surprises of the night.
Yeah. So the next picture that you may have seen before, this group here, you got Brad and I to each side, but the rest of those people, the guys at least, are Oliver Straw's best friends. Some of them have known Ollie since he was in 5 years old. And the ladies, I don't know if any of them came from Australia, but the young lady on the right-hand side, that's Oliver's girlfriend. She's out of Butler, PA.
Correct.
Yeah, out of Butler, PA. But all of those guys came to the United States. This is their first trip. And it also will lead for me to finish a story about those guys later in Textual Healing. All right.
Real quick on this. Right directly behind me, you can't see it. We're blocking out Anthony Straw there. He's in there. You can see his hand on my shoulder. He's back in there. Yeah. But they talked about these guys had planned this trip for 3 years.
That's what I want to get into later.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, I'll get into that later.
And they had been in L.A., in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, we come to the game, you're going home. No. They're going to like New Orleans and Washington, D.C. I mean, it's like this great American tour. They continue to go. Wonderful guys. And I don't want to steal your thunder, but what they were saying was they were on campus with Ollie, and people were coming up and they wanted a selfie with Oliver Straw, and they're all going, what? What's this about?
He's big.
And I explained to them that Ollie was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, he's a big
deal. But they were wonderful young guys, and the Straws are great, and just added a lot to the gathering on Friday. Enjoyed spending time with him.
By the way, Oliver played so well. I don't know if it's in the NIL budget, but you might want to slide a little money over to the fellows and have them back again. Always going to play like that when they're in attendance?
Might be send that back to the Baron there at Pro Kick Academy. Okay, roll through some of these other photos if you would. Ethan, I'll kind of say what's going on here. All right, so there yesterday, for the very first time, Hudson Clement, you see it, number 3 there. 33 is his brother Murphy, who dressed for the very first time and was on one of the special teams units. So that was awesome.
Punt block.
Yeah,
punt block. His unit, yeah.
Willie linebacker on punt block. And so congratulations to the Clement family. They got both of their boys out there. Of course, Huddy's dad performs at these events. He performed at the food court, and he performed again on Friday. And he is absolutely fantastic.
Mike and Tracy are just they're just part of the
salt of the earth.
Part of the group.
They were really excited for that moment,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Tracy in particular was really excited that both of them were going to be dressed there.
Okay, so right here, that is Mountaineer holder, fake field goal runner, backup punter, backup place kicker, Leighton Bechtel.
Yeah.
He played his final game, and there he is with his folks and family, and it was his final send-off. And so the dad said that they were very appreciative of us always lauding special teams. And, well, I mean,
He scored a touchdown.
Bechtel.
Yeah.
That's he'll go down in history.
Well, one of the most effective rushers in the Big 12. You look at EPA, the Bechtel is right near the. That's true. He's right near the top.
One carry,
EPA
touchdown
per rush.
Yeah.
And Ethan, show that picture out in the parking lot there in the blue lot, if you would. This was another assemblage of people. So all of the Aussie visitors and the Straw family, and like they all got everybody together, and it's great.
They were awesome.
They were really good.
And our guy Anthony, we giggle all the time. He was in more countries in the last couple of weeks than I've been in neighborhoods in Morgantown.
Yeah.
Let's just say
4 different countries.
Yeah,
let's
he's
just
all
say
over.
Ollie's dad works internationally. So I go like when you go to him, you go like, "Oh, where you been? Yeah, you've been around." Where you been? I was in Dubai. I was in Sweden. Spain.
Spain, yeah.
He just like,
I think he was in Spain more than I've been in Star City this year.
I think maybe.
He's a fun guy.
Wonderful.
He and his
Great.
wife both are
They're
wonderful
awesome.
people.
Yeah, we really have enjoyed the Straws, so we appreciate them and all the guys coming by. That was nice of them.
Texter, in listening to your show, with the possible exception of Brad's merciless slandering of Swiss cheese, I've heard nothing but praise for Tudor's biscuits.
I don't like Swiss cheese.
But with all that praise, none of you have said what the truly greatest thing this place is. I'd never been to a Tudor's before, but a friend was in the hospital. I'm driving to the hospital to visit him. Decided to stop in for a quick breakfast for my ailing friend. I was going to pick up some food for his buddy. And look over to my right. To my pleasant surprise, it was a Tudor's Biscuit World. My mouth began to water. I decided what to pick from the menu. I'm telling myself that Tony, Brett, and Hoppy say this place is great, and they're right. The minor biscuit won out, but the best part yet to come. I asked, "What kind of coffee do you have?" The young lady behind the counter said, "Regular or large?" Not espresso, not latte, not double caramel mocha with whipped cream sprinkles and a chocolate hazel cream cookie stir. Simply regular or large. How great is that? That alone made me a customer for life. Now only if Hoppy can convince Brad to vote yay for Swiss cheese. Signed, a Tudor's customer for life.
No, will not vote yay for Swiss cheese, but I am on board with our texter's recommendation that sometimes cheese is on there, sometimes it's not, sometimes it is Swiss cheese,
Right.
sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
I would be absolutely in on
Appreciate the compromise. Thank you.
The
Trying
premier
to work with you.
The premier biscuit maker in the world, Tudor's Biscuits, 70 locations, most of them here in West Virginia. They are now franchising if you're interested. If not, then just stop in and get that award-winning Mountaineer biscuit that last year beat 32 other biscuit makers' biscuits.
If we're there, Brad, and you order a biscuit and has Swiss cheese on it, you give it to me.
Yes.
And then you order another one, which probably won't have Swiss cheese on it.
Good point.
Okay.
Mike and Julie in Charleston check in. Guys, last week was the trifecta for my wife and me. I went to the brawl in basketball, went to the football game. That was tough. But Zach Frazier and the Steelers delivered Sunday. 2 things about my wife. She is a P2.5 listener, and she often refers to you guys as 8 or 10 guys. Like, hey, we're listening to 10 guys on the way to the game. Her quote of the year came a week back when she saw Russell Wilson's jersey and said, "Why does he have a Darth Vader on his jersey?" That was only bested by a buddy that told me on the very same day my wife wanted to know why Dan Prescott had a Batman on his jersey. It's the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. The funny stuff is true stuff. Keep up the great work, Mike and Julie. Got some pictures of them. There they are. At the basketball game, at the Steelers game, at the Mountaineer game. They were all
did
over.
hit it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Julie. Darth Vader and all. Hello, 3 guys. Been a while since I checked in. Got a good West Virginia connection story for you. I'm in East Columbus, Ohio for work. couple of stores nearby. I figure in between meetings I'll get some early Christmas shopping done. I pop into a shoe place, find a pair. I'm checking out. The light go above me starts to flash. Young lady comes over and asks me for some help. Asks me if I'm a member at that store, to which I reply, no, we don't have these back where I'm from. Oh, where are you from? I'm from Morgantown.
Of course she is.
Let's go, Mountaineers, she said, and then continues and tells me she used to visit her cousin who went to WVU. She also says she'd come down because he was a former Mountaineer football player, and his name was Nana Kyram. My memory serves, he was a corner, graduated around 17. Still, nevertheless, always a West Virginia connection. Actually, he played from 2014 through 16, played 29 games, had himself an interception and a fumble recovery. Nana Kyram. Texter, thanks for all the laughs and commentaries and insights into West Virginia sports this year. Looking forward to hoop season with cautious optimism. Let's go. Devin from Goshen. At Goshen Road in Goshen, Indiana.
I don't know. Goshen Road?
Yeah. Texter, even Oscar Mayer knows to stop at the world champion Tudor's Biscuit World, signed by Steve in St. Mary's. I tell you what, the old Oscar Mayer mobile there at the Tudor's Biscuits. That's hard to back up, I think. He probably had to go around. He probably went around. He just didn't like pull that thing and back it in, would he?
I don't know. He got that thing right in there.
I hope he wouldn't back into anybody, like file an insurance claim.
Yeah, I mean,
backed into by a wiener.
See, even the wieners are jealous of Tudor's Biscuit. They need to run in. They need to do a wiener biscuit at Tudor's. Oscar Mayer wiener.
Yep.
But speaking of crazy things to drive, I pulled out this morning. I live near the stadium. I pulled out this morning, and a little probably should have waited, but I pulled out, and a massive the truck that hauls away all of the porta-johns at the end of the Mountaineer football season was
You pulled out in front of it?
Yeah, and I looked down, I said,
dangerous.
there's probably about 60 porta-johns on the back of that thing. Off it went. Told me season's over at home.
I don't think you want that thing running into you.
No.
Spillage wouldn't be pretty there.
No, they probably clean those before they move them. You certainly hope they do. But anyway, that is kind of the signal that season's over when they haul away the porta-johns on a Sunday morning. Texter, hey, Three Guys Empire, I think the overall disappointment is less on the field and more the build-up before this season from coaches telling us how good the team was going to be, only to come out and lay a series of eggs in front of the people who live and die with this team. Should expectations have been tempered more, or was it necessary to increase donations and ticket sales? Chris from Cape Coral, formerly from Mullins. I don't think that they hyped. It's not like pro wrestling. I don't think they hyped it to sell more tickets, to be quite honestly. I think they actually thought, and I understand what you're saying, there was a lot of optimism that didn't materialize in certain areas. And so no, I don't think they do that for tickets. I think they really truly thought that.
There were the Penn State hype went to another level. Like that one went to 11, and then there was disappointment. Then the Pitt loss. I mean, those two games had a gigantic. That puts you behind the emotional 8-ball for the rest of the season. Frankly,
yeah. Similar to that Ohio State season opener that Don Nealon still to this day talks about. By the way, this Chris in Cape Coral says, it was me who sent you a text that said, here's the 400 episodes, and I hope there are 400 more. And it was that time that I said there would never be an 800. And he said, but wait a second, now there's an episode 800 merchandise website. I will send my W-9 to Comax for royalties. I'll say it again. Guaranteed. There will now be an 800th episode.
What's our number now?
595.
That would be another. Probably not. Yeah. I just did the math in my head.
Thanks for coming along.
Warning, in-game text. Spending the last few hours of bow season with Tony in my ear, and the Mountaineers up 2 scores. I just saw a bobcat.
Awesome.
It's a great day to be a Mountaineer.
Where's the bobcat?
I don't think it might be in there somewhere. I don't know if he actually just said, I just saw one. He didn't say, look for the bobcat. Yeah, so deer season starts tomorrow.
Yes.
Bang, bang. That was Travis in Lincoln County up in the tree.
Probably at his land up there.
Probably owns all of that. Probably has mineral rights underneath it. Right, Brad? Unless they sold them.
I don't think there's any question.
Probably has maybe the surface rights, but not the mineral rights.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Texter.
What? What?
I'm not saying it. 3 guys, glad to get the win tonight. Scopes, please finish the story about Oliver Straw's buddies from down under. So I said on the broadcast yesterday, it was terrible. I forgot to finish the story. I said, those guys that I said Oliver's friends are here, about 10 of them came from Australia, but they waited for 3 years in order to get here. They wanted to wait before they came. They didn't come as a freshman, even though they could have, but they didn't. Why? Well, because the drinking age in Australia is 18.
Correct.
The drinking age here is 21. They didn't want to come to the United States and not be able to drink beer.
Fair.
And so they waited 3 years. Now they're all of 21. And so now they came so they could drink. And they do.
When they came over, the guys, it was weird because they all had a beer bottle in their hand. They were all just standing there with a beer bottle in their hand.
This is what I told Brad.
They were great, though.
They were.
And they enjoyed the Connection 304 beer.
Yes.
That was a group. I'll just tell you right now, we got, 15, 20 minutes hanging out with them, talking to each one of them. That's a group you'd want to hang out with every
Absolutely.
weekend. That was a really cool group of guys that were over here supporting Ollie, which makes sense, right? Because they fit exactly what we know of Ollie, just to be a great dude and fun. And that, I'll say it again, that was really enjoyable to see those guys. Fun group of guys.
I know I've said this before too, and of course it was for a good cause. And also because of the tailgates, now we've come to know these people in person who come to all of them, and you see them go, "Hey, what's going on? What have you been up to?" And
family.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Real quick, Tony, you mentioned that Ollie's known a lot of those guys since he was little. We've got this picture of them that goes back to like they're 12 years old. Look at young Ollie Straw there and one of the fellas hanging out when they were just 12 years old. So they've been buddies for a long time.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got that picture because they showed that to me as well. So they were at a big event there when they were little guys.
Was that just, I know you mentioned, was that not the best play? Like, I've been to a lot of bars in Morgantown over the years. Was that not the best? I didn't know it was there. That is the best place.
It had the best weird-ass feeling. It was like you were inside Harry Potter, like a Harry Potter place.
Yeah.
It was cool. And it perfect for a great job by Dave because it did feel like a speakeasy. At any minute, I felt like somebody should be watching the door because at any minute someone was coming in saying, "What are you guys doing in here? You're not supposed to be in here. This is shut down."
You want to? Here's a mini West Virginia connection that my neighbor Chuck. There's always a neighbor Chuck angle.
Yeah.
When he was in college, he lived in that building in the upper floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was the original Gabe's. That was the first
the
ever
original
Gabe's
yeah.
store.
And it was probably something before Gabe's. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that sign out said Monongahela Feed Company or something. Didn't that one picture?
Yeah.
The what did it say? It says, so at one point, there's a big wall there. The Monongahela Supply Company, which looks like that would have been the Monongahela Supply Company.
And Michael, the general manager.
Terrific.
They don't, it's not a bar that's open all the time. It's just special events.
Well, that's why Delightful Dave was able to get us in there.
Mm-hmm. They had another event after our event.
That night?
Dang.
Dang.
That was a good event. Or fun time.
Yeah.
Fun time. Well done.
Texter, great win for the world champs today. Just wanted to say thanks to all of you for putting on the speakeasy. The wife and I had a fantastic time. Definitely had that underground basement house party vibe. The food and company top-notch. Dave, delightful. Mike Clement, a machine. He played my wife's entire Spotify playlist on 3 sips of water. It was also great talking to Mr. Madagascar. Yeah.
Yeah,
Our
I
guy
talked
was
to him,
there.
yeah.
Aaron was there.
Aaron was there.
He's been all over Africa.
Oh, yeah. And the Straw family from down under. Brad and I talked a little bit about the inconsistency of the team, while Hoppy indulged us with some life lessons and political inside information. What a great night to raise money. Fantastic cause. P.S. Tony, you were swarmed at the bar, so we didn't get to talk. So apparently that was during that situation.
Oh, well, you were under attack.
When I was under attack.
Yeah.
But my question was, have Coach Greg Hunter and Sean McDonough ever had a conversation, and what would it sound like? Signed by the lawman from Fairmont. Here he is. That is the lawman.
Mm-hmm.
And there's his lovely wife.
I met them for the first time and talked to them. They were delightful.
Yeah.
She is a respiratory therapist, and he works at a facility in Fairmont that processes aluminum, and he fixes all the machinery.
Oh,
That's his job.
Yeah, that's nice.
They were delightful.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I always thought he was a cop, signed the lawman. I always thought it was a
No, I
cop or
think
something.
no.
Okay. Scope Senator Dean, proud of our team getting a win on seniors night. 2 questions, punt returns. How do players decide whether to fair catch or not? Are there scenarios where the staff says fair catch no matter what? So a lot of it is feel by the returner. And, yeah, there are certain times where a coach would say park it for various time score situations. He continues, we could certainly be 7-4 heading into our final game if we had played a mid-major instead of the 2 Power 5s non-conference. Wonder how that would change the narrative around this program. Signed by the 3 guys, G.I. Doc. Here's a Hoppy's obvious observation from Periopolis Phil. It feels a lot better winning than losing.
Stole my thunder.
Great to get the W on Seniors Day. See, a lot of people are going Seniors Day now.
Yeah, I can't do that. That's probably technically
Well, you changed
right.
me. I go Senior Day now.
Yeah, seniors is probably right. There's plural senior. I don't like it. Senior Day.
Oh, you go senior day?
I've always referred to it as Senior Day.
Really?
I'm not coming off that.
Senior? Why? It's the senior
Seniors-
day. So you're identifying as Senior Day.
Yeah, Seniors Day just sounds clunky to me when you say it.
Okay.
So
How about just call it the day where players who've probably played their last game run out on the turf?
yeah, maybe a tad long.
Okay. We'll work on that.
What do you guys think?
I do love Senior Day. We talked about that yesterday.
Oh, it's great.
I do enjoy it. Even it's different than it once was.
Right.
I get because of all the turnover, but I do like it. And I think that's right. I know that's cliche and kind of corny, but I am glad for those guys.
Yes.
And there's a long list of them. A bunch of them have been on this program before. Our guy Jaquay, Tony, that we haven't talked about a lot.
awesome.
I'm thrilled for him that he goes out like that. Garrett, just go right down the list of all the guys.
Yeah. Tony, in our coverage, Joe Bricado always listens to what Jaquay says to the team when he gets together, and he has very thoughtful, motivational messages to the team every week. Comes up with something new all the time. We got to get him on the program. Is that
we can have
efforting
him on,
that?
yeah.
Who?
We can get
Jaquay.
Yeah, well, I'm back. You know he's been on before.
Oh, I guess I wasn't here.
Stunner. Yeah, it was when there were leaves on the trees. So you're not here then.
Got to get Garrett Green on too.
I felt good. I felt
trying
good.
to see if he could join us.
Yeah. Felt good last night. So there was an event that was going on after the game, and I wouldn't have gone, I don't think, if we would have lost. But I went since we won. And I had a great time. It was very enjoyable. But this was not a pre-rehearsed thing. So I'm getting ready to leave. I see this dude on the couch. And
Couch where?
What?
at the event I was at.
Oh.
What's he holding? He was drinking a 304.
Ah.
That's Tommy and Clark. You know Clark.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Good job, guys.
Yeah. Clark's on the left. That's Tommy.
Where was this?
Thank you, Tommy.
At an event.
Oh, you're just saying event.
Private residence?
Private residence.
Okay.
Thank you, boys.
Baby shower party.
Baby shower?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys got to go too.
Okay.
It was really good. I realize I've been texting only when we lose, so I'll change it up and give some credit. While the record this year is not what I'd like, getting the win at home on Seniors Day was a nice boost for the teams and fans. The conference record is also better than most of us realize as well. Hopefully we can win in Lubbock, win a bowl. 8-5 season wouldn't be that bad. Signed by Josh in Mason County. Tector, Elite One Jennings, thanks and for you guys. Delightful day for putting on the speakeasy. Wonderful event, wonderful cause. Everything wonderful. Made new friends, interacted with you all. Good luck at the basketball games this week. If you need a friend, let me know, and I'll do the podcast with you. So, Hop, you might be doing the show with Jennings.
With E1?
Coming up, yeah, E1 Jennings.
By the way, Jennings' first one in attendance.
First
the other
one
night.
in.
Tony and I weren't even parked yet. We were driving and saw him walking in.
I was
Thanks,
in
Jennings,
early.
by the way.
I was in early, and I got there just before E1.
Yeah.
It was Dave and me and E1.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Jennings hasn't missed an event.
Then the folks from Colorado, you met them.
Oh, they were great. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
This would probably be
talked to them for a long time. Then they were headed over to the women's basketball game.
Oh, yeah.
This would probably be better suited in graphic form, but Josh in Wheeling writes in. I'm doing these on the hot fly now.
Yeah, you are. This is very Anchorman-esque of you. You're just reading
well,
hot.
I got these ready. I got up early this morning, so I had everything done. Now these are just still coming in. But anyway, Big 12 conference wins in the last 2 years, 23-24. Who has the most wins in 23-24 combined?
23,
Iowa State?
Yes, 12. Who's second?
Might be West Virginia.
Kansas State?
Second, Kansas State.
West Virginia's going to be third, aren't they?
West Virginia's tied for second with 11 conference wins.
Yeah.
Really?
So Iowa State's got 12, West Virginia's got 11, Kansas State's got 11, Texas Tech 10, Kansas, Arizona 9, Arizona State, BYU 8, TCU 8, Oklahoma State, Colorado, Baylor each with 7, and Utah 6. Then it just goes UCF 5, Houston 5, Cincinnati 4.
Well, keep it rolling. Go in and find a way in Lubbock. Weird things happen in Lubbock. Hard place to play. Obviously, they're going to throw it all over Hoppy.
Yep,
Baron Morton, right, can throw it. Their
Yep.
defense, Texas Tech's defense, has struggled as well.
Can you keep up, though?
Yeah, that's one of those. If that's not the highest total of the week on the board, I will be stunned.
Which would be 68?
Maybe higher. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's a 69, 70,
Really?
72 even, right? And then kind of see where the bets go from there. But yeah, that's going to be, you're going to have to produce offensively. And then, listen, we just said 2 of the 3 best defensive grades have come in the last 3 weeks. Is this defense ready? That coverage grade has gotten better. What can you do? Take your swings.
Massive, 3 cubed, massive. Shout out. WVU women's cross country team.
Yes. That
Finished.
slipped under the radar, by the way.
Yes, it did. Couldn't happen on a football day. West Virginia's women's cross country team finished second in the nation, second to only BYU. Sean Clary, who does an unbelievable job in that program, said it is the biggest accomplishment in the program's history. Think about that.
Second in the nation.
Second in the nation.
Kaylee McCabe, top finisher for West Virginia, of course.
Absolutely. Multiple All-Americans for the Mountaineers. So congratulations to them. What a fantastic accomplishment. And that's the second best team result for a Mountaineer team since the rifle team won a World's Championship.
Olympian McCabe.
Yeah.
That's the second best result of any sports, you're saying, since rifle.
Team.
That's well done.
Team
Good job.
sport.
Good job, then.
And as we record here in the morning on Sunday, best of luck today to the WVU men's soccer team as they take on the Cavaliers of Virginia at 5 o'clock start time.
This would be a nice thanks for having us.
It'd
This would be a nice one.
And Coach Stratford expressing his displeasure with how that draw came out and feeling like they have to head over to the mothership with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah. Here's one for you. Hey, this is Professor Vinny. Recently, my wife and I took the kids to see Santa. Naturally, my son and I were sporting WVU gear. This particular
Santa's from Grafton.
besides being from the North Pole, he also has spent time in Steubenville, Ohio. He asked us if we're from West Virginia. We said, yeah. He said he even knew of Brooke High School, so Santa is always a West Virginia connection. And then he said we even got our picture together. I don't think Ethan, if you look at the list and you can see the new picture that just came in there with Santa, that would be just tremendous.
Probably has land in Tucker County with snow up there.
Andrew in Little Rock, by the way of Parkersburg, what I want to know is what in the world did Oliver Straw do? Well, there was an entanglement of players that involved linebacker Ben Cutter. And Oliver felt that the UCF player was either unnecessarily holding him down or whatever. And so Oliver, I think, simply went over to disengage the bodies, and it got loose a little bit, and they called the fouls. It's always the second guy in.
Yeah.
There's Professor Vinny with Santa. That is a hell of a Santa.
It's a good Santa.
When you look at Santas, that guy's like 5-star Santa,
It's a good Santa.
right? Professor Vinny does have the resemblance of an elf, I must say. There you go.
Did you see Shadur Sanders push an official?
That should get something. That should be that should be a little something there, Senator.
The rule is officials can push players. Okay? They can push players. They're trying to break things up, move things. And it was a tussle there. And I don't know if anybody saw at the time that Sanders had pushed the official because he pushed him in the back.
Well, they'll look at it now, and they see it now. I want to see if they got any stuff, because he absolutely deliberately pushed that official on purpose.
Yes.
And you could see it in his face. So they should hammer him. But will they going into the final Saturday of the season? That should be. You should be sitting down. Should be sitting down.
It was a scrum, but still it was
you can't
an overt
push the
action.
official.
No.
He intentionally pushed the official. They didn't bump into him. Like, they didn't, like, turn all of a sudden and run into him.
Right.
He gave him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we've done absolutely enough.
They're still
damage.
coming in. Thank goodness it's a live show, because these are still coming in.
It's kind of like steam release. And then again, it isn't. All right, so we're gonna have a three guys meeting right now in front of you. It's gonna be hard to do another show this week, Harvey.
Yeah, it is.
We got basketball Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
We could do Sunday morning.
We can do next Sunday, but it won't give us a preview of Texas Tech.
And you can't do tomorrow. Can't do. You
Can I
guys
make
are
a
gone.
suggestion?
Yeah.
Go ahead and hit the music, and
Music's on.
We'll have this discussion.
Music's on.
Just follow or subscribe. It'll
think
show
if
up.
they subscribe, if we do another one this week, they'll get it?
It'll be there, yeah, and we'll work on something.
You think if we do one before Thursday that maybe there's a family or two out there that will say grace before they eat their Thanksgiving dinner and tell everyone else, okay, now let's be quiet and turn on three guys? Possible. Probably not probable, but
Yeah, I was gonna
possibly
say,
a good way to spend Thanksgiving. I
Well,
think.
but a lot of people are traveling, and they listen to the podcast while they're traveling.
We probably owe them one. I don't know how we're going to do it. Anyway,
We'll figure it out.
special thanks to assistant producer in charge of content and development, Jumpin' Jack Carlson.
Jack's here.
He is back on a quick Thanksgiving break from college.
And instead of sleeping in, just comes right in, joins us on an early Sunday morning.
What? Are you surprised?
No, not even a little.
Guy's a worker bee.
Thanks to Ethan, too. Ethan was with us for 9.5 hours yesterday. Ethan's in today.
Ethan
Ethan
Collins
was in here early as well.
Stepping up.
The only bad thing about old Ethan was that Cleveland Browns gear that he wore last week.
You should wear it this week. They beat the
Yes,
Steelers.
exactly.
Should have worn it this week.
Yeah, it was. All right, we're out. Special thanks to our sponsors, Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart Rewards card. Immediately save food, fuel, get food and fuel at a reduced cost. Go to gomart.com for details. Download the app. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. It can be kind of fun having a Thanksgiving dinner on a houseboat. Three guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. It's Tudor's Biscuits. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. All kidding aside, have yourself an absolutely wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Obviously, a lot of sporting activity will be taking place.
Guess where we're getting our turkey from?
Oh, you're getting one from Rev Kev?
Rev Kev.
Saw him last night. He was at the baby shower.
Was he?
Yeah, he was there. He's probably going. He probably left to go get
a
them
picture
turkeys.
before you carve into it once it's done.
Will do. Okay.
I bet you that's going to be awesome.
Awesome.
That's going to be good. All right, subscribe. We'll do our best to do a show, but we'll see. If not, it'll be next Sunday. See ya. Be good.